Amidst all of the categories that actually make up the tech space, the data space seems to be like an interesting one to me because it's that space that actually takes messy data and build AIs from there, or build models from there, and actually draw out conclusions to actually solve actual problems. So to a certain degree, I feel like the data space is actually the most valuable space in terms of solving problems when it comes to tech as a whole. And when we try to zoom out of the whole data space, we have a lot of spaces that actually make it in, coming from the data science, the machine learning, the AI, the data engineering, the data analytics, just to mention a few. All of those subspaces in the data space actually have something in common. They actually want to take a messy data and actually use that messy data to solve a problem. Now, in the subspaces that makes up the data space, I will be focusing my attention on one of the most popular and the easiest to actually get into. I am talking about the data analysis space. So this is a video on how you can become a data analyst. So before I jump into telling you how you can become a data analyst, it only makes sense for me to introduce you to the field and let you know more about the field that you actually want to get into. So basically, the data analysis space is actually a space that is all about collection, cleaning, analyzing, and visualizing data sets in order to draw out conclusions from these data sets to solve real life problem. So in summary, your job as a data analyst is to take data and make conclusions from that data set to solve problems. Now, these problems can be ranging from the business problems, the finance problems, the educational problems, the medical problems, just to mention a few. But the most popular problems that most data analysts actually come across is the business and the finance problem. Now, you may be asking me, is the data analysis space a lucrative space? Yes, it's actually a very lucrative space. You know, people can actually make fortune from the data analysis space. But I don't want you to making money from the data analysis space the main goal, in as much as money is actually very important and can be like a main goal to some certain set of people. I want you to be entering the data analysis space because you love solving problems. Maybe not with data at first, but in the long run you actually transition into loving solving problem with data. So I'm going to tell you the skills and the tools that actually make up a data analyst, because there's a difference between the skills and the tools. As a data analyst, you should have some certain skills and you should also know how to use some couple of tools. Now, please note that data analysts are not all about the tools. In fact, and to be honest with you, it is actually more of the skills than the tools. I feel like the tools are just ends to the means, because for example, if you give me that now your job as a data analyst is to solve problems. So that means you need to know how to attack problems. You need to know how to see a problem and break down this problem into the simplest particles that make them up and be able to like solve this problem. Like I used to say, as a data analyst, if you don't know how to approach a problem, then there is a problem. Be ready to solve problems. Be ready to like seeing problems, because your job as a data analyst is to solve problems. Now, the next skill you need to have as a data analyst is the critical thinking skills. You want to solve problem, but do you know how to sit down and think about those problems? Do you know how to break this problem down with your mind? Do you know how to see a data set and think of an approach that can actually make you to be able to prescribe solution to that data set? And that is where your critical thinking skills come into the picture. Now, you can actually build this skill by working on a couple of quantitative reasonings and a bit of mathematical problems. They kind of build your critical thinking skills, and you can also take some couple of exams and tests just to build how you think critically. The next is actually the communication skill, which is very important, because as a data analyst, after having the solution to your problems, you're not going to be telling yourself the solution. You're going to be speaking to certain sorts of people, such as your boss, the manager, the stakeholders in general. These are the people you're going to be communicating with. So even if you know your job, you know how to analyze data, you know how to draw out conclusion from data, and you're like a 10 over 10 in solving problems, but you don't know how to communicate your solution to people, you don't know how to talk to people, you don't know how to express yourself as a data analyst. Let's say you're a 3 over 10 when it comes to communication. People will judge you based on the 3 over 10 and not the 10 over 10. So in the long run, knowing how to speak, knowing how to communicate with people actually goes a long way. And this will now lead me to the fourth point, which is your storytelling skills. Any data set that is given to you actually has a story inside it that it actually wants to tell the person that is working on it. So you need to calm down and be able to map out the step that leads to the final decision from your data set, because every data set has a story, and you must be able to tell the story that defines your data set. You must be able to tell the story that your data set is actually trying to tell you, because it starts from somewhere and it obviously ends somewhere. And the last skill that you need to learn is the math and statistics skills. I can't emphasize on this enough. Now, the bad news to some people is that yes, there is actually mathematics and statistics in data analysis, and the good news is that this mathematics and statistics is actually learnable. In fact, the mathematics that you need for data analysis is just the basic mathematics from linear algebra, from the basic linear algebra rather, down to the basic arithmetic, and that is enough for you. And when it comes to the concept of statistics, you really need to know the basic descriptive statistics to the intermediate level statistics. I'm talking about knowing when to use your bar chart, knowing when to use the pie charts, knowing how to interpret the values of the mean, median, mode, and the skewness, just to mention a few. Knowing how to use EDA and descriptive statistics actually goes a long way in the life of a data analyst. And if you want to be one of the best in the game, then you can actually start learning advanced statistics, time series forecasting, advanced hypothesis testing, and all of those details. Now, these are the skills that you need as a data analyst. There are more to it, but I'm trying to shrink all of them into these 5. Okay, now let's talk about the tool. Now, recap that as a data analyst, you need to know how to collect data, you need to know how to clean data, you need to know how to analyze data, and then you also need to know how to visualize this data in order to draw conclusion, solve real life problem, and prescribe your conclusions to people. So this simply means that there are a couple of tools you actually have to learn. I'll just talk about these tools, but I actually have a roadmap that can actually make you a data analyst. I will be linking that video in the top right corner, and also I'll be linking the statistics playlist that I actually made for data analysis. I'll be linking that video right here too, so you can also check that one out. So the first and the most popular tool that I advise data analysts to actually learn is Microsoft Excel. So this is actually a spreadsheet that can actually do a whole lot of things. Excel is that tool that it can do a couple of things, but it is not really great in specific aspects of data. It can do a lot of things, and it is actually very easy to learn. Excel is this entry tool that you have to learn, that it will make transition into other tools easier. For example, if you know how to use Excel, it will be easier to transition into tools like Power BI, because Microsoft owns Excel and Microsoft also owns Power BI. So the way they designed Excel and the way Excel function, it's kind of similar to the way Power BI kind of functions, although Power BI has its own strong fourth, its own stronghold, but it can also do a couple of things better than Excel. So the first tool I advise you to learn is actually Excel. Then after learning Excel, you should learn SQL. So basically, SQL is actually a programming tool, a coding tool that can actually do data analysis, but its stronghold is actually extracting and querying relational database. That is, SQL is a tool that you use to collect data from a relational database. Okay, after learning SQL, the next tool rather that you have to learn is Power BI. Power BI is actually a business intelligence tool. You know, it's more or less like, I see it as Excel on steroid. Is like an advanced Excel. It can do all the things, probably all the things Excel can do, and even better. Then it obviously adds business intelligence to the list of things that it can do. Now, people use Power BI for data visualization, and that is a stronghold of Power BI. It is actually a tool that can actually create beautiful dashboards, you know, give you the nice colors and aesthetics for your analysis. At the same time, it can also give you proper analysis regarding your data set. And the next is actually Tableau. In fact, the Tableau and Power BI are actually very similar. They are both business intelligence tool, and they can actually perform very beautiful visualization. So the choice of using Tableau or Power BI is just dependent on a couple of factors. For example, if you're a Nigerian, I would advise you to use Power BI because Microsoft kind of have a very strong community here in my country, you know. But if you're in Canada, in the USA, and you know, some couple of countries, Tableau is actually the best to use. So in Africa, Microsoft Power BI is like the best tool to actually use. After learning Excel, SQL, and Power BI, then these three tools are actually enough to actually make you start working on projects and start learning some other things. But if you now want to like up your skill and like become one of the best in the game, you know, then you can now learn Python and R. So these are pure programming languages that uses codes that you can actually use them to, you know, analyze data sets. You don't need to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tools before you start working on projects. Okay, once you learn Excel, you know, you can actually start getting data sets from sites. We have Cargo. It's actually a site that provides data sets. So once you learn how to use Excel, or you learn how to use SQL, or any of those tools I mentioned, then jump into working on projects. Don't wait till you learn all the tools before you can actually start working on projects. In fact, as a data analyst, most times in your life you won't be using all the tools. You might actually end up using just 2 tools, probably SQL and Power BI, or SQL and Excel, or SQL and Python. So it's not a must you learn all the tools, but we mostly learn couple of tools because we don't know where the job offer can come from. We don't know what the job requirements would be. Probably they want me to learn Python and I don't know Python. So I would advise you to stick to like 2 tools that you're actually very good at, probably Excel and Python. Then you know a bit of couple of tools, like you know a bit of Power BI, you know a bit of SQL, and if any job comes, you can let them know that, okay, you know what, I actually know these 2 tools very well. I also know a bit of these other tools, and I can actually learn along the line. It actually makes sense that way. But the honest truth is that it will be so hard on yourself to learn all the tools at once. We have people that know a couple of tools, but it's not a must you know all of them. Master of all trades, master of none. Now, I mentioned something about working on projects, and it's not as big as the way it sounds. It's just basically you getting data sets from sites like Cargo, and then you actually get a context regarding the data set. That is, what is the problem regarding this data set, and you can actually work on this data set, perform your analysis the best way you can, use the tool that is your best, that is the tool that you are actually very good at, your stronghold tool. Then you can actually publish your report, your dashboard, your analysis to sites like GitHub or Twitter, and that now leads me to building in public. So whenever you are trying to learn data analysis as a beginner, I will always advise you to learn in public, meaning whatever thing you are doing, whatever thing you are learning, try to let people know that you are learning data analysis. You've learned something new, you've actually done this, you've done that. You can actually do this by posting your work or your project on LinkedIn. You can post it on Twitter, you can post it on Facebook, you can put it on GitHub. We have a whole lot of social media platforms out there that you can actually express yourself in public. You put yourself out, because one way or the other, a recruiter may be looking at your page and be seeing what you're doing, and once a job comes, they can get it to you. So after working on your project, make sure that you actually build in public. You announce yourself to the data space and tell them that what you are ready to learn, you are actually learning, and you are actually good at what you learned. I see this as a public CV. Now the thing is, learning data analysis is actually quite tedious. It's not as sweet as I have been making it seem. It's not like you start learning now, and in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you actually get it and you get a job. No, it can actually get you frustrated, because there's some times that you are learning some stuff and you are finding it hard to learn, you are not getting it. It's normal. Take a break, keep calm, and that is why I advise you to be in communities. Be around people that are also learning data analysis with you, or that are actually in the tech space, so you can actually find communities around you. And for me, the most popular data community that I know is one on Twitter. We have a lot of good people out there sharing information and giving motivation to beginners that wants to be good data analysts. So I advise you, as you're working on your project, as you are learning, also try to be among people that are also learning like you. Twitter is like the most popular place to learn data analysis right now in Africa and Nigeria. But then we also have LinkedIn, we have some Facebook groups, we have WhatsApp group also, that we just have this set of people that come together and they assist and motivate each other one way or the other, and it really makes sense. It makes you find your foot. I know you are asking yourself those questions. So when is this guy going to talk about how I can get a job? So the honest truth is that the data space job, the data job space, if I can use that word, is quite funny. It can come in two ways. It can come from the remote aspect, meaning you can actually work as a freelancer, or it can actually come from the on-site, meaning like a company employs you and you actually become a data analyst. So what I'm trying to say is that try to focus your attention on both of them. Okay, from the remote aspect, the online aspect, you can actually register on freelancing sites such as Upwork, Fiverr, set up an account and kind of register as a data analyst. Now these guys are actually going to be bringing jobs. They'll be listing jobs and you have to make a bid. Now note, there are people that have actually been doing this before you, and they've actually have built a presence for themselves. So you might not easily get job, because these guys will be the one that will be siphoning all the jobs to themselves. But that is where your tenacity and you not giving up comes inside, because getting job in a data space, it's a bit stressful, because you keep trying, you keep pushing hard, you don't give up, but then your time is actually going to come. So you can how will I say this in English, make a profile on Fiverr, on Upwork, on Freelancer, and keep pushing your profile and get better, and you might actually get a job. Or you can actually publicize yourself on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and tell people that, okay, if you have any data sets as an individual that you want to analyze and you want to make a report, you can actually tell them that you can analyze data for them, like I used to do on Twitter. And one way or the other, if you are actually a reputable person and you've built your account to a certain degree, and this is where your building in public comes inside, people have seen that you were actually sort of learning and building, so they can actually say, oh, I trust this guy, okay, have this data set, and you can also get jobs from there. And from the on-site, it's a bit tougher there, because the recruiters will rather give job to someone that have couple of experiences compared to you that is just a beginner. So that's why it's good to apply for jobs that are actually your level. If you're a beginner, apply for beginner level job. If you're an intermediate, stuff like that. But you also need experience to move from beginner to advanced level. So when it comes to on-site, I feel like you should actually focus more on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has this site where you can actually interact with recruiters and people that actually own company and stuff like that. And also, if you kind of communicate and relate well with people, if you socialize well with people, you can actually let people know that you are actually a data analyst. That is if you go to conferences, okay, try to go to talk conferences, events that is related to data analysis, and let people know socialize and let them know that you're actually a data analyst and you are actually interested in working. Don't be shy to share your profile with people. Don't be shy. You understand? You're looking for a job and you are actually going to get this job if you are actually active. So in summary, you should be ready to publicize yourself. You should be ready to make noise online. Rather, you should be able to you should be ready to just let people know what you can do, and you will get a job. The data job space is chaotic, and it's too spontaneous that I can't tell you I understand how it goes. Even with a bit of my experience, I still can't tell you do this you will get a job, do that you get a job. It's actually very, very subjective. So, but from my own perspective, make noise, let people know what you can do, try to be good at what you are doing, and that job is actually going to come. So where do you learn? So basically the data space is actually at the moment a self-learning space. It's more of a self-learning space, meaning we really don't have universities and colleges that actually give you BScs or MScs in data science and data analysis and all of those stuff. So it's more or less you have to go to sites like Data Camp, Google Courses, Coursera, Udemy, and kind of purchase a course on data analysis, and you actually learn from there. And as you are learning, you work on projects. In fact, a Data Camp actually have this well structured courses that you can actually take. Some of these are free, some of them are actually paid. But if you're looking for free materials, you can come to YouTube. We have the likes of Alex that actually dish out free materials. I'll be linking Alex page and playlist in the comment section, in the description, so you can just check him out. And shout out to Alex, by the way. I also try my possible best to contribute by actually making videos like this, and also making a statistics playlist, that is by teaching you the statistics that you need for your data analysis journey. So this is just how you can become a data analyst. And if I miss something, you can actually go into the comment section and actually drop your comments, or if you have some questions for me, just go down to the comment section and drop your questions. Okay, if you learned something new from this video and you also enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to this YouTube channel. Do you need a playlist to kickstart your data analysis journey? I have a video right here for you, something here. And do you need a roadmap that can actually help you to become a data analyst? I also have a video right here. So thanks for making it to the end of this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.